I want to bring my political panel for today. Julian Hill is the Assistant Minister for Multicultural Affairs, Customs and Citizenship. Ben Small is a Liberal MP and the Shadow Assistant Infrastructure Minister. Welcome to both of you.
Great to be with you.
OK, end of a sitting fortnight, and then now there will be a break. But on two key changes you wanted to make, gambling and social media, they've gone to an inquiry. Jane Hume was on a little earlier and she made the argument, which I thought she made pretty well, that scrutiny is important and there are processes to scrutinise that the bills would work well. Isn't that fair enough?
Well, you've got to look at the substance, and this is in the context, of course, of the government having got the tax cuts through and some really big reforms. And you're right, there's always unfinished business from every fortnight that we'll continue to deal with. But I'll make 2 points. On the substance of each of those issues, we should be making progress. On the social media ban, this is broadly supported in the Australian community. It was the proverbial barbecue stopper. Parents want this protection through. It's been world-leading. Other countries are taking it up. The government always said at the start, like any big new regime, that we'll look at it and we'll improve it as needed. This bill is really important. It increases the fines. It puts an obligation on the social media companies, Elon Musk, Google, Meta, the big kids. They'll be laughing about this because it gives them the opportunity over the next few months, while the Senate's diddling around playing politics with an inquiry, to destroy evidence, to destroy documents. This bill would increase the penalties. It'd require them to produce documents, and it'd give us powers to go after the third-party agents like the age verification people so that we actually can make this work for families. It shouldn't be stuck in an inquiry. They should be voting for it, not protecting the interests of trillionaires like Elon Musk.
OK. I'll let you reply to that, and then we're going to talk about gambling.
PK, these laws have got more holes than a well-loved set of undies, let's be honest. And particularly when it comes to gambling.
Might be your
the government tabled the Murphy report 1,100 days ago today. So, frankly, the hire of the member for Bruce and others to come into this parliament and lecture the rest of us about the need for urgency when they have sat on this for 3 years. You've seen the outcry from the community today about the holes in the legislation. So let's actually let the Senate do its job. Let's take the time through the winter break to make sure the Australian community and all stakeholders can take this very ordinary legislation and hopefully make something good out of it.
OK, the gambling laws.
Well, he didn't talk about the social media, did he?
Well, I'm very happy to, actually, because if Annika Wells spent less time flying around the world crowing about it, she might have delivered better legislation to Parliament.
Are you really defending Elon Musk? I'm not sure he has.
I'm certainly not. I'm simply saying that this minister has a demonstrated track record of presenting sloppy legislation to the Parliament and demanding that it be passed immediately. We've seen this happen with the social media ban, and we're now trying to mop it up. So let's call in the clean-up crew on aisle 9 before we pass the legislation on gambling, and let's get it right.
OK, let's talk about the gambling reforms. I had Tim Costello on the program. He is not happy with how far you've gone. But now we've got a real chorus growing of people in the Parliament concerned. Why not just ban these ads during sporting events?
So I saw most of your interview with Tim. Tim's someone I've known for 30 years and have the most enormous respect for his work over decades on this issue. Tim also acknowledged that there are many good things in this package that are genuine progress and welcomed them. Again, I make a couple of points. This is an incredibly important issue and horrific and traumatising for those affected. $32 billion lost to problem gambling.
And 1,100 days of inaction. So how do you explain that, Julian?
Let me finish, Ben. Over many years, I've had my members, and I say that in plural, of my family touched by this. They're not my stories to tell, but I get it. This bill represents progress, and I can't help but observe on the bizarre contradiction between people complaining in the opposition and elsewhere, so-called progressives who want to claim that mantle or pretend to, complaining that this has taken too long and then say it's going too fast. This bill absolutely represents progress. It bans logos, it bans advertising on grounds where kids play, it restricts gambling ads during...
Tim Costello just said it doesn't go far enough. I want to pin you down on this.
Okay, absolutely.
Thank you very much. Are you prepared to go further if the Parliament, the Senate inquiry says you should?
Well, again, 2 points. It makes real progress, and of course, true progressives should bank the progress, vote for progress, bank the
footy
win,
time, family time, Julian, or not? Why aren't we banning these ads before and after
let me
sporting
ask,
programs?
do you want that?
We've been so clear, right?
No, you haven't.
Wait, dating,
you haven't got a position.
You're dating back to Peter Dutton's original call for this, which I think was broadly respected across the parliament.
Didn't legislate
Footy
it.
time should be family time. So let's make sure we're not presenting children watching sport with their parents these sorts of ads. Why is it acceptable to have 3 ads per hour related to gambling during children's programming? Why is that acceptable? You guys have sat on this report for 3 years, and this is what you've dished up.
And you're now
Honestly,
saying it's going too fast?
it is a disgrace. And this is what we're seeing across Australia.
There's not a single specific suggestion from them. They should vote for progress if they're serious about the issue.
Right.
And final thing, if they want to put forward amendments, then do so.
Okay.
They don't need an inquiry into an inquiry.
Let me ask you this question. Well, it's your legislation, which is not just the inquiry. So, people do look
It's a good bill.
People look at legislation,
It does a lot.
and they are entitled to. That is the point of the
Well,
parliament.
he chose to leave the Senate. Now he's back in the Senate. I mean, it's very confused over there.
I'm not back in the Senate, mate. I'm back in the House of Representatives with you, thanks to the trust of the good people of Forest.
Let me ask you this.
For now.
This is getting... Please.
Anyone would think it's the end of a long sitting fortnight, PK.
Look, I wonder why One Nation is surging in the polls. Be nice to each other. Can I ask you this?
Please. Please, Mum.
I know, I am being your journalist mum right now, and I am behaving that way. That is true. Do you think that you should just ban those ads during sport, full stop? Is that your view?
Personally, I'd have no problem with that. Australians like to have a punt in the right settings, and we're not trying to get rid of that. We're Liberals, we believe in choice. But the things that the Coalition's called for, like changing the opt-out to an opt-in for gambling inducements, is really sensible. Something like 80% of Australians in polling want to see less of gambling advertising. So why should the default position from the government be that people need to opt out, when 4 in 5 Australians are so clear about this?
Are you open to the opt-in instead?
Well, there's a lot of snappy lines, but you can put forward amendments. You know that's how it works. You've had 3 years, which is your point to think about it.
Not about
if you've
the
got
process,
amendments, put them forward.
Because I love my viewers, and I think process is boring. Ideas is where I'm focused.
Indeed.
So do you think the opt-in instead to advertising is something that should be explored?
Well, as I've said, and we're going to go around in circles, if people have ideas to put forward, then we're the government and we consider them in a proper way. We want to get this bill through the Senate. Make no mistake. We want this to become law. We want these protections. So if Ben or any of his colleagues, crossbenchers, so-called progressives who often don't vote for progress but like to carry on, if any of them want to put forward amendments, including the one you've put forward, we'll look at it seriously. We want the bill passed.
All right, I want to change the topic. The Midwinter Ball was on. Your leader, Angus Taylor, has been criticised widely for bombing in his speech, but this really follows a week of speculation about his leadership and concern around that 17% figure. Is that acceptable where you're at? Is this just a situation that you're going to continue with?
Look, I thought the first rule of the Midwinter Ball was we didn't talk about the Midwinter Ball, PK. But anyway, I wasn't there, I've never been, and I don't plan to go anytime soon. So I'll leave the commentary on that to others. But look, I think our focus needs to be on the economy. The economy is tanking under this government, particularly post-budget, right? Australians are poorer today than the day that this mob took office. They've had 1,100 days on the gambling report. I don't know what they've been doing. I do know what they've been doing, actually, because we've seen interest rates up 15 times, we've seen inflation high, and that's why...
Is that a situation that can continue?
No, I don't think so, because Angus's budget reply set out our clear alternative for the Australian economy. And our tax-back guarantee, with an automatic tax cut for every Australian every year, at $400 this year, is already almost double...
gone down since...
Almost double the WATO that the government's planning to, give everybody next year so charitably. So I think that when our message is clear to Australians, and we've got to argue this all day, every day, PK, because, politics is tough. We're half the size, roughly, of the Labor government, so that means our players on the field have got to do twice the work, and I'm looking forward to doing that over the winter break.
Does he have a time frame to turn it around by the end of the year?
Angus Taylor's got my absolute support to lead the Liberal Party, because in the short time he's been leader, he's laying down those clear markers. We will end Labor's failures on migration and tie it to housing completions. We have an economic plan to deliver rising standard of living again. Australians are poorer today than they were when this Labor government took over.
Well, why was the Prime Minister so mean about Angus Taylor's speech in question time?
Well, what I'll say on the speech is, I'm not going into specifics.
He's a mean guy,
I've been to many midwinter balls, not all, probably been to about half. I was sitting at the table right at the front, closest to Angus, a couple of metres away. I tried to laugh because I actually got so awkward I felt sorry for the guy. It wasn't funny, and it was like a bullying Year 12 school captain punching down on little kids. It wasn't a great speech. Whoever wrote it for him...
Who are the little kids in this story?
Well, the journalists, his colleagues. It was weird. It was weird. It wasn't funny. But look, on the substance, I'll just make 2 points, given you're talking about the end of the parliamentary fortnight. What we've seen is the 3 right-wing parties trying to out one nation each other.
Well, the 2 left-wing parties, being Labor and the Greens, are trying to crunch everything
change, through. If you want to go to the polling, you know, polls come, polls go, right? The only trend that I can observe in the last 9 months is the complete collapse of the coalition vote as people who are disgruntled and, you know, upset with this, that and the other.
Too.
Well, no, that's the structural trend is the collapse of the coalition vote. That's what we've seen.
What else is collapsing?
Now, I don't reckon.
And this is a result of your economic.
You want to talk about house prices? They are the only people in the country who think that the housing market isn't cooked and that nothing should change. I don't reckon he'll be there by Christmas.
The election,
you know what?
I don't reckon Angus will be there by Christmas.
I don't know, but it's an interesting perspective, and I want to thank you for coming in and being your journalist mum for the afternoon.
Thank
you very much.
Yeah,
See you on the other side.
That was Julian Hill, the Assistant Minister for Multicultural Affairs, Customs and Citizenship, and Ben Small, Liberal MP and Shadow Assistant Infrastructure Minister.